So, a lot of people, they were mad at you. I don't think they understood or knew what was going on. Can you kind of break down that whole
A lot of people
situation?
are still mad to this day about me trademarking the marathon. And this is actually the first time I've ever spoken about it publicly. And I did. I applied for the trademark. Just because I'm not in the streets as a lifestyle, I mean, it's here on my neck. That's what it says here, street life. So I was very much a part of the streets. But just because it's not my everyday lifestyle, I'm still connected in some ways. And what happened was when Nipsey died, they were trying to extort his estate in the streets, and it was being talked about, and I got wind of it. So, like I said, I'm not in the street, and I'm not, on the violent tip and that kind of. So I had to sit back, woosah, collect my thoughts, and figure, what are you going to do to save this boy's
This thing right here have everything hard.
estate? What are you going to do? I had to do something about it. I heard them talking about, So I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trademark it, and I'll tie it up legitimately in the trademark office, and nobody can do nothing with the marathon. His Black Sam couldn't even do anything with the marathon because I tied it up. And although I did try to initially get in touch with his sister, I did send her a message through her DM, but they're mourning Nipsey's death. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really expect that she would call me back to talk about a message that I left in her DM, and she used to spend a lot of time at my house. She's friends with my youngest son. So yeah, I did. I trademarked it. They were trying to extort it. Big U wanted it, and Suge.
Do you have any idea what they were going to do with it?
Whatever they thought they could do with it. I would get plenty of calls from Suge.
The playoffs and bowl.
Suge. Talking about that. I mean, he called from prison talking about it. And so I was clear on what was going on, and I got it. And my intentions were not giving it to Big U and not giving it to Suge. No, saving it for Nipsey's estate. Because let me tell you what happened with Nip. My son, DG University, his name is Don. He does video. He's a videographer. And he was just starting out, but he hadn't built any content. And Nip was just starting out, and he didn't have a bag for a team or whatever the case was, somebody to come film and do it. So they got together in exchange. He said, Nip, I'll shoot you if you let me use the content to start building my portfolio for my videography business. And Nip said, man, you got a deal.
How long will I be alone?
So he shot Nipsey's first performance at the House of Blues. And from there, my son, started to build his resume. And that's how they did, So Nip looked out for my son. You know what I mean? And so it was only right for me to look out for his kids. And that's what I did. And so, yeah, that's why I trademarked it. And as a matter of fact, Black Sam and I will eventually get together and sit down. And we just saw each other a couple weeks ago and, had a talk and laughed a little bit and about it and stuff like that. But yeah, I sure did. I trademarked it to keep it for his estate, for his children. And when you hear them talking about what they got now and who split what with what out of the estate, is because I looked out, and it was only right. I didn't get any money for it. I didn't ask for any money. The thing was, we did a vetting process to make sure that it went from us.
Hey, do I get the money?
Directly to his estate. And that's what happened. And they have it.
Okay, but they sued you at one point, though, and you guys worked it out? Or how did all that come together?
Well, that was the only way that they could obviously get in touch with us was through an attorney. So they hired an attorney, I remember initially, and he just didn't seem like he was above board to me. He seemed like he might have been behind the scenes, on some politics. And so I said, he asked for it, and I said, no, we're not giving it to you. And we didn't. Then they got another firm, because I don't even know if that really was coming from his estate or from Black Sam or whoever it was coming from. But then when I got to the point and saw that this is really, his estate, it's Black Sam and it's the family, and then we went ahead and did it. So that's what happened. They got in touch with us through that way. But yeah, there was no lawsuit. And even when it first happened, somebody from our organization released a statement saying that we'll never take them to court. We will not fight them in court. Well, we couldn't speak on what was going on at that point, but we just wanted them to know publicly that we ain't fighting y'all. This belongs to you guys. You know what I mean? And so eventually we handed it over. Yeah, there was no lawsuit.
Now this happens, and but people are still thinking people still think a lot of bad stuff about you. I'm glad you're here to clear it up, because a lot of people were really really mad about this. I remember when this happened.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected, because I'm not a person who.
I'm ready to go again.
This is the first interview I've ever done. So I'm not into explaining, because for what? And I'm a person who's definitely in touch with reality. I don't think I'm bigger than the program, because anybody can get it. You see what I'm saying? It only takes about 1.2 pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. A baby can kill you. So I'm not above any of that. And, but I just stay in my lane. I mind my business. I'm not going to bother you, and I'm not going to let you bother me. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And, so I've never had to explain my actions, for that. And as a matter of fact, I think it was probably one of the most profound to this date lessons that I've taught, because when everybody found out that Nipsey did not own the Marathon Continues, and that was his brand, and he always spoke about ownership, trademarks went up 10,000% between 2019, when I trademarked it, and 2020. It was the most amount of trademarks filed, applications filed in the history of the USPTO. So I did good. After that, that's all I heard about. Intellectual properties, trademarks in our culture. And so it was a good thing, So yeah, I didn't come out explaining and that kind of thing. As long as my intentions were there, and I did what I set out to do, I wouldn't hurt Lauren London like that, My boyfriend, there was a 54th Street massacre back in 1984, and my boyfriend was murdered the same way that Nipsey was murdered in the street, So I know the pain that Lauren London felt at that time. And
ESPN.
She's a kid with him, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't dare, do nothing like that to step on her feelings, her emotions, disrespect her like that. And yeah, so that's what it was for. I hate that it had to, be done that way. But I mean, that was the only way that I knew, the best way that I knew to do it, and the most effective way to do it, to make sure that it didn't get into the wrong hands, because it's very valuable, very valuable. And so when I said to Sam, Sam, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what, I put you guys through. And he says, what you put us through by saving the marathon was nothing of what you saved us from. And so, that was all I needed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.